The Utah Jazz just got destroyed by the Memphis Grizzlies. It wasn't particularly close. Let's talk about what happened. Is there something wrong with the Jazz? It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we get into it, we've got two items of business. First, if you haven't already, go to PrizePicks.com. Use promo code HoopsNerd to sign up. They will match up to $100. It's a blast. I appreciate that they support the channel. And if you go use promo code HoopsNerd, it will support the channel as well. So go to PrizePicks, use promo code HoopsNerd. It's a great deal. Match up to $100. It's a lot of fun. You could have got a lot if you'd have picked the John Collins over on points tonight. So go check it out. It's free money. It's on me. That's what I'm telling everyone. It's like, look, here's free money. It's from me. So go do it. I would appreciate it. Also, before the show starts, we had a new all-star at the tail end of the show last night. It's Car Wash Channel joined, and he's an all-star. By the way, bring out your cocoa. Bring out your hot cider. Let's have a nice sleepy time live broadcast tonight and talk about this Jazz team and what's wrong. This is my favorite. This is hot cider that has been helping me with the COVID. I'm feeling a little bit better. The headaches still coming a little bit, but it was the first morning in like 5 days that I did not have a headache. I have had a headache for 5 straight days before today. It's getting better. So knock on wood, knock on glass. Cheers. The hot cider, it brings, it's nice and warm when you're sick, and it brings the vitamin C. Did you know? All right. Well, Car Wash Channel joins the channel. So let's talk about Car Wash before we talk about the Jazz. Car Wash Channel last stream said he would like to be called Jazz Channel. So how do we incorporate Jazz into Car Wash Channel? Car Wash Jazz Channel. He said Jazz Channel. It's like the Jazz Wash. The Jazz Wash. How does that work? Any members in the comments have free reign to come up with an idea here, but Jazz Wash Channel, Car Wash, Jazz Wash. I'm doing this with still a little bit of foggy brain. The Car Wash Channel, Jazz Wash Channel, the cleanest. I'm just not very good at these. Sometimes we really hit, and sometimes I don't know if I'm very good, but they stick. That's for sure. Jazz Wash. Josh. Let's see. Car Wash Channel loves the Jazz. He wanted to be Jazz Wash or something along those lines. We wanted to wash our eyes out after this Jazz game. I tell you what, not the greatest night to come up with one of these because, not as many people are here. But that's why we're going to have fun tonight and just do our thing. But Car Wash Channel, it's got to be something that I can say, though. Car Wash Channel, Jazz Wash. Purity. Like when you wash something, it becomes pure. It becomes clean. It becomes better. It becomes nicer. The nicest Jazz sponsored Car Wash Channel, Jazz Wash. Should we just call it Jazz Wash? Car Wash Channel, the jazziest the jazziest Jazz Wash that ever jazzed. That's kind of fun. The jazziest Jazz Wash that ever jazzed. The Car Wash Channel. The Jazz Wash. Let's just call it the Jazz Wash. That's what Car Wash Channel wanted. That's what we're going to do. It's the best I can come up with. It's the first time we've had a non-name member that we've got to come up with something for. So, Jazz Wash Channel. Car Wash, Jazz Wash. The Jazz Car Wash. There you go. The Jazz Car Wash. Car Wash Channel, I hope you're happy. That's what it's going to be. The Jazz Wash. That's what it is. All right. Well, now we've gotten through our items of business. Hopefully everyone's okay. Make sure if you have any off nights or off days in the future, any paid time off, please talk to HR. They will let you know. Okay. But let's get to our meeting now. Those of you taking notes, I would appreciate it. No, just kidding. Let's see. So let's put this down, put my COVID face off of here. And let's talk about this Jazz team. This was a bad performance by the Utah Jazz. It was really bad. Tony Jones before the game said the Jazz had a longer shoot around. So I don't know if they were tired from that. I have a hard time believing they would be that tired from a shoot around, but they did look tired. So maybe it just looked like they were a little bit lackadaisical in this one. They just did not look 100%. And so they go into this one. It really could have been this should have been a win in all honesty, because this Memphis Grizzlies team is 3-13, now 4-13. Jazz fall to 6-12. So this was a chance for the Jazz to get to 7-11, everyone's favorite gas station, and they ruined the opportunity. So that's what happened. So anyways, let's just go through it. Simone Fontecchio has played really solidly for this Jazz starting team with Lauri Markkanen out, but I think tonight was really the first time you really felt the lack of Lauri Markkanen, because his offense would have been big time in this one. There were multiple times last year when Lauri Markkanen would come into a game kind of like this one and really kind of carry the Jazz team in a lot of ways. I know the Jazz obviously did not win a ton of games last year, but there were many games you could go back to, especially during the time when Mike Conley was here, that when he was on the floor, the Jazz were typically getting better shots. And I think tonight really taught me that the Jazz do, in fact, miss Lauri Markkanen and what he brings to the table. You know, Simone Fontecchio, it's not to talk badly about him. He had a kind of an off night shooting night from the field. He got blocked on that one transition play and things like that. But if you look, he did shoot 4 for 8 from 3. So that's nice to see. He did have, let's see, actually, if he's 4 for 8 from 3 and he went 4 for 13 from the field, that means he only made his threes. The only thing is, and maybe, it was Yurtsvin. So he missed everything that wasn't a 3-point shot tonight, which is interesting. 4 assists, though, for Fontecchio, 12 points, 1 steal. And I do think that his defense has become something to watch, that it's actually pretty positive. And it actually, you don't look at Simone Fontecchio and think, defensive player. But he does seem to defend pretty well. And I think with how he's played, especially with the 3-point shooting, that when Lauri Markkanen comes back, it would be nice to see Simone Fontecchio get minutes off the bench, which he has been getting. But I guess it's almost more validating for him and maybe for Jazz fans to see it now that he had a chance to really show what he can do with Lauri Markkanen out. John Collins, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like he does play well for the Jazz, but I don't know if his impact is always that strong. I mean, I guess you could argue, you look at the rebounding for the Jazz, and tonight he did not rebound the ball. In all honesty, no one played well for the Jazz tonight. I guess you can give some credit to the Grizzlies, who came out really tough. Will Hardy mentioned that in his post game, that the Grizzlies came out and just really took it to the Jazz, and the Jazz did not respond. So that's not great. But John Collins did shoot the ball well tonight, but you can see the real frustrating thing for Jazz fans in this one was the lack of rebounding from this starting unit. 4 rebounds for Fontecchio, 4 for Collins, 4 for Yurtsevin, and we've talked about how the Jazz are the number 1 rebounding team in the NBA. They certainly were not tonight. Well, let's see, 27-39. Yeah, they got smashed on the rebounds today, which the rebounds in a lot of ways are a energy statistic. And the Jazz did not play with energy tonight, whether it's because they did not have it because they are tired, whether it's because they were just not bringing a lot of energy for whatever reason. It's hard for me to see a whole team have that low of energy and think it's a full team not playing very hard, but sometimes that's how it goes. There was some weirdness to this game a little bit, though. It's hard for me to look at a team and see how kind of lackadaisical they were. A lot of malaise type feeling. It was very clear the Jazz did not have it tonight from the start. And so you can see that in the rebounding, at least. Yurtseven only played 15 minutes tonight. He's got another start tonight over Walker Kessler. It has to be only a matter of time because Kessler plays 27 minutes, almost double what Yurtseven played. And I would like to see Kessler play with this starting unit. You know, I liked that Kessler took 2 threes in this one. I want so badly for them to fall when he does take them. But they did not. But anyways, Yurtseven gets the start. He got kind of smashed and ends the game just 2 for 5 from the field, 4 points, only 4 rebounds, and yeah, it was not enough. Now, some of this might be the Jazz play tomorrow, so good luck for the Jazz because they go from playing the 3-13 Grizzlies to the I think they're the number 1 in the Western Conference, Minnesota Timberwolves. So good luck to the Utah Jazz. Yeah, number 1 Minnesota Timberwolves. Who'd have guessed it? But anyways, so tough night for the Jazz tomorrow coming, and that team is so good defensively. And one thing that's interesting, the Jazz defense has improved since they've had this Lauri Markkanen sitting. They actually, in the last 2 games, are the number 8 defense in the NBA. Now, after tonight, I don't know if that will quite stay the same. Could be. I mean, Memphis in this one only scored 105. You know, the Jazz got blown out because offensively they were horrible. But defensively, you could argue they were actually not terrible. Although some of this could be that the Grizzlies just stopped trying, you know, once it went to garbage time. But we'll see what happens against the number 1 defense in the league, Minnesota Timberwolves, tomorrow when the Jazz, you know, oh, and that's why I was mentioning that. The Jazz have the number 8 defense in their last 2 games in the NBA. They have like the number 18-19 offense. So the offense is actually getting worse while the defense is getting better. So it's kind of like last year, the Jazz are kind of adjusting things and figuring things out. Can I get both hands on the screen there? There we go. And some things are getting better while other things get worse, which sometimes is just a sign of talent. You need your talent to just improve. When your team's playing better offensively, it's obviously easier to play defense because you're getting in that half court more often. You can still be a good defensive team if your offense isn't going great, but it's much harder. It's much harder because teams get things like the transition points, quick turnarounds. You know, when the Jazz are turning the ball over, that's really the biggest thing for them. 17 tonight is on the high end, so not great. 15 for the Grizzlies. But yeah, the Jazz just offensively did not look good tonight. I mean, how many of the players had a really, you know, John Collins was 50% from the field. He probably had the best offensive night of anyone. Yes, he did. But no one else was very impressive, especially when the bigs are shooting 33%, 30% for Fontecchio. Not great. 40% for Yurtseven. Keonte George was 2 for 4 from 3. All of a sudden, that 3-point shot is starting to fall at a really efficient clip. You know, we have time tonight. Let's just look it up. I want to look up Keonte George's thing. And, you know, it's a loss. So, you know, sometimes the losses make for better shows because we're just going to do whatever we want. Audrey, my dog, is barking at something. I don't know if you can hear that. But anyways. Let's see. Someone's at my front door, so I may need to go check on that. We'll see. What a night. Let's see. So anyways, I'm going to go to the game log here for Keonte George. And let's see. So Keonte George, he has been starting. Let's just look at it. So he has been starting since 11-8. Let's see. 3-point percentage. Let's see. So he went 2 for 4. In his last 4 games, Keonte George is shooting. Let's just bring this up. Let's see. Crud. This is not the best show, but that's okay. 4 plus 3 plus 2. That's 12. 4. 6 plus 9 plus 8 plus 4. 12 for 27. He is shooting, let's see. 44% from three in his last 4 games. So that 3-point shot is really starting to fall. And let's see this. This right here is since he's starting. So that includes shooting 28% from three. So that 3-point shot is actually, that's 4 games. That's actually a real sign there that that 3-point shot might be turning around. So that's great to see. The 2-point shot is the one you want to see improve, 2 for 6. There's got to be some improvement on the finishing there, which I'm sure he will do. And that will also get better with the free throw line. He only took 2 free throws tonight, but that's just something to watch as Keyonte George improves his development. The biggest thing I'm getting from this Jazz team is I am very pro trading Jordan Clarkson at this point. It's just not a very good flow. And I know he had 10 assists last game. Tonight he had 5, so that's great. But what's going on is teams are kind of trying to get the ball into his hands, and not great things happen when they do. I mean, last game was good because it did turn into 10 assists, so you've got to give Jordan Clarkson credit. But this offense feels so clunky sometimes. And I honestly get frustrated for Keyonte George because sometimes it feels like he just has to defer. There were moments during this game where Jordan Clarkson's body language was just not great. It was just not great. And I know he may be tired. He played through some sort of injury tonight. I'm not 100% sure why the Jazz had him playing, if he's just dealing with some sort of injury. But, they said he was probable. So, there you go. But I would appreciate the Jazz making some moves. Now, the Jazz can't do anything till January. So this is not something we're going to beat the drum on too much because of the new contract and everything. He's not getting a trade he's just not trade eligible till January. So, and I know some people would disagree. Some people in the comments are going to be like, no, Jordan Clarkson's the best ever and blah, blah, blah. I like Jordan Clarkson a lot. As a person, I think he's great. And there's been a lot of fun moments with Jordan Clarkson on this Jazz team, but he has not been a very seamless fit with our new point guard. It's not been a very good playmaking role for him. It's just not who he is as a player. He needs to be a sixth man. But the Jazz just have a dearth of talent right now in some ways. I mean, one of the issues with this Jazz team is the Jazz were dependent on THT and Sexton to really help them out, and they were probably the worst of anyone on the team tonight. If you combine what Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker did, 3 for 10 and 2 for 12. That's 5. What's the math there? 5. Let's see. 5 for 22. Between the two of them, 5 divided by 22 means they shot 22% from the field as a pair. Not good. Not good. That is really hard to overcome. And the Jazz had to play them 22 and 24 minutes, because, Keyonte struggled tonight. Jordan Clarkson struggled tonight. Although I guess we're talking about Jordan Clarkson struggling, and he shot 40% from the field. So of all the guards, he shot the best. So I guess if you were arguing why he should stay, that would be the argument, I guess. And he did have 5 assists. So there you go. But 5 assists with 4 turnovers. And I guess all I would say is that the flow of the offense is just not great with Jordan Clarkson. But it's, that's the issue with this Jazz team, is it's even worse with Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker. I want to see Ochai Agbaji get those minutes that Jordan Clarkson gets. But I don't know when that's going to happen. And I don't think the Jazz are too keen on playing Keyonte George too much this year. I know the Jazz are trying to make the playoffs, and I think one of the big things that will help them do that is just how much Keyonte George continues to evolve and so on. Ochai Agbaji as well. If Ochai Agbaji can become a consistent three-point shooter, that would also be great. But it's something that we're waiting on. Ochai Agbaji goes 1 for 4 from 3 tonight, just 2 for 5 from the field in 21 minutes. He's not impacting the game at a super high level, but I would prefer Ochai Agbaji on the floor with the ball going through Keyonte George a lot more. I think the Jazz would win more with that. But even if the Jazz do something like that, you're still going to get something like 46 minutes of Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker. 24 minutes of this game will have one of them on the floor, and it's just not very good. It's been pretty bad. Taylor Horton Tucker in the last while has not been hitting shots. It's been bad. In fact, let's do the same thing we just did with Keyonte to Taylor Horton Tucker. It's been really bad, and it's getting to the point where it's really hard for this Jazz team to win uh, basketball games. I mean, look at this. He's actually having a better than career year at 29%. But 37% from the field is less. His touch, I have to say, his touch is just not very good. It's really not. His touch around the basket when he's trying to lay it in, it's just not very good. And I don't know if that's something you can get better at. I would hope so. I mean, there are times when Taylor Horton Tucker gets to the basket, he'll cross over his guy. He's got actually pretty impressive burst and things like that. But then he'll clank the ball off the backboard hard, and he tried to dunk one tonight, which I guess, I appreciate, but it just doesn't go in. He had a 9 for 18 night against Phoenix, which was really good. This is like, arguably his best night of the season, except for maybe this one. So, but anyways, after that game, since that Phoenix game, 1 for 10, 1 for 4, 2 for 5 is okay, 2 for 9, and then tonight, let's see, 2 for 9, he goes 2 for 12. So, pretty rough stuff. It's pretty rough. And Colin Sexton has been really struggling as well. Let's just be fair, and let's just spread all the shade tonight. Colin Sexton. Let's look at this, the game log. And this doesn't include tonight, which was bad. You can see, well, that's his three-pointer. Actually, you know what? Pretty decent. Well, look, 5 for 13, 0 for 5. It's kind of hit or miss with Sexton, I guess. 6 for, some of this is actually better than I would have thought. And that's actually not that surprising. We know that Sexton actually finds a way to be pretty efficient, although sometimes it's at the expense of the offense. It's him knowing he's going to make a good chance at making a shot rather than moving the ball to find a better one type thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just this duo right here has not been very effective the whole season, and it's going to be hard for this Jazz team to overcome it over the long haul. I didn't think it would be that bad this year. I thought Keonte George would start. I did not know what the Jordan Clarkson dynamic would be, and it's not been very good at all season. And so this has been really rough. Walker Kessler, we all know, had a really rough start to the season, and so the Jazz have had to kind of mix things out. And then really just the big thing for this Jazz team is Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker have been just really bad. They've been really bad. And the honest truth about this Utah Jazz team is where they stand in the standings still. I mean, they have improved to number 8 in the league, and I do think there's a chance for them to kind of bounce over the Clippers and Golden State to get in the playoff picture. They beat New Orleans twice, who looked really good tonight, by the way. But it's going to be tough, and the hardest thing for this Jazz team is to just overcome the play of some of these players on their own team. It's really rough. And that really does beg the question that a lot of Jazz fans are probably asking, why is... like, if the goal is to win and you want to make the playoffs, do you think that Bryce Sensabaugh is that much worse than Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker? Like, is he going to be that much worse? I do think Taylor Horton Tucker, of those 3 players, Clarkson, Sexton, and Tucker, is the best defender. We saw even a little bit of that tonight. He can block some shots. He can get deflections and things. He's pretty actually decent defender, which, like I say, I think if you want to be a pro Taylor Horton Tucker, which I don't know how many people there are out there, you look at him as a defensive substitution in a lot of ways that can bring you some other things, even though those other things don't tend to really be anything. But I do look at him as like a defensive player. You bring in Bryce Sensabaugh, he's not going to be a high-level defensive player, and there may be some real growing pains, but I don't know if those things are worse than what you're getting from Colin Sexton and Taylor Horton Tucker. I don't think so. I think it's honestly pretty bad. And you put in Bryce Sensabaugh, and things can improve, I think. I think the biggest question mark, too, for me, at least currently with just this current situation the Jazz are in with Lauri Markkanen injured, is Walker Kessler has been coming off the bench, and I think that tomorrow. He should be not coming off the bench against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's going to be a big game for him going up against Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. They're a really good team. They are a really good defensive team too. And so this Utah Jazz team, if they want to have any sort of shot, by the way, tomorrow night, if you're doing prize picks, go use promo code HoopsNerd. Bet the under. Absolutely easy money tomorrow. Go find one of the, if they have like rebounds or something, bet the under, because this might be a game where we see the bench play. I just do not see this Jazz team it's going to be tough. The question is, do they have one of these players abnormally high next game? Bet the under. Back end of a back-to-back, the Jazz are going on the road, and they are playing against the number one defense in the NBA. Bet the under on that. Bet the under on points on one of these guys. So, tough stuff tonight. I think that's really most of what we have tonight on a really bad loss for the Jazz. Just really bad. Really tough. So, not a lot else to say. Kelly Olynyk played in this game. He actually hit his 1-3 he took, and some things happened, I guess. 5 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. Let's just hope the Jazz bring a little bit more effort tomorrow. All right, that's probably one of the shorter shows we're going to have this season. There is not a lot to say. The effort tonight was bad. That's basically the moral of this story. But you know what? Let's bring up the music, and let's do a roll to see, because the Jazz are in the lottery. If the lottery were today, who would they get? So let's do it. Okay. And right now, the Jazz get their pick because they are in the bottom 10. So that means the pick would convey to the Jazz. So who's ready to see what pick the Jazz would get if the lottery was today? Boom. Oh my gosh, there it is. Just a year too late. The Utah Jazz. Oh my gosh, Ryan Perry, the legend, 1999. Feel better, James. Ryan Perry, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, my man. 1999, that is so incredibly generous from one of the best out there, the legend, Ryan Perry. Thank you so much, my friend. That does me a lot of good. Thank you, Ryan Perry. That's amazing. I appreciate it. And just like that, the Jazz win the number 1 spot in the NBA lottery. That would get them, according to Tankathon, Ron Holland. Wouldn't that be the most Jazz thing ever? In kind of one of the more unheralded drafts in history, the Jazz would get the number 1 pick in that draft. That would be... I would actually be mad that if we won the number 1 pick in that one... Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. But you know what? I wouldn't take Ron Holland. I'd take Isaiah Collier. He looks like an absolute bulldog. 6'4". He looks bigger to me. Or at least he plays bigger. He is such a beast. And then there's also Alexander Sarr, who has some question marks about his offensive game a little bit, but there's a lot to like. There's still some guys that are going to rise and fall, and so who knows? And maybe the Jazz would trade that number 1 pick. I don't know. Guess last time Danny Ainge had the number 1 pick, what did he do? He traded out. So who knows? All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars tonight, especially to Ryan Perry, the legend. Thank you so much, my friend. Unbelievable. I appreciate it so much. All right, let's give a shout out to the Jazz Wash Car Wash channel, the Outlaw, Jesse James Nelson, Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer, Ryan Perry, the legend, Ezekiel Raisibe, the man from down under. Yes, Jake Seacan. See ya, Lexalator, Built Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Jordan the Goat Besserell, TGD Total Game Domination, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, DW to CB Darren Williams, to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Guys, you're amazing. Big shout out to Ryan Perry tonight. Unbelievable. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're a Jazz fan, how come you haven't subscribed? We've got like 75 left to 10,000. It might be even less now. So go subscribe. Make that happen. Guys, I will talk to you next time.